On July 9, 2025, in the Vatican offices, something extraordinary happened, but also deeply controversial. Cardinal Fernández signed a document that many experts on Marian apparitions did not expect to see. A nihil obstat for the apparitions of Litmanová, a small remote village in northern Slovakia where between 1990 and 1995, 3 children claimed to have seen the Virgin Mary. But this recognition hides a much more complex story than what appears on the surface. A story made of messages expressly censored by the Vatican, of theologically unacceptable contents that Rome had to prohibit from publication. What the Vatican has officially approved represents only the visible tip of the iceberg. The other part reveals messages of extreme harshness. If these topics are dear to your heart, help us spread them. A like can do so much, as well as your subscription to the channel. Thank you from the heart. Let's go back to 1990. Slovakia was experiencing an unprecedented spiritual renaissance after 4 decades of brutal communist persecution. The Velvet Revolution of November 1989 had just swept away the regime that had systematically destroyed the country's religious life. The Byzantine Catholics of the mountainous region where Litmanová rises had been particularly hit by the repression. Their churches had been closed or destroyed. Their priests imprisoned or eliminated. Their faithful forced to hide their faith to survive. For the first time in 40 years, they could pray openly, celebrate the liturgy, speak of God, without fear of ending up in prison. It is in this context of collective spiritual hunger that on August 5, 1990, 3 children experienced something that will change not only their lives, but the spiritual destiny of millions of people throughout Europe. Ivetka aged 11, Katka aged 12, and the latter's younger brother, Mitko aged 9, find themselves on Mount Severe, 3.5 kilometers from their native village. It's not a casual trip. They are exploring the Majdan, the ancient wooden huts that represent the heart of local tradition. Every summer, entire families migrated from the village houses to these huts scattered on the mountains for hay harvesting. That Sunday afternoon of August 5th, the 3 children take refuge in the hut that belongs to Ivetka's family. It's a simple construction. A room for the family, a barn, and a small space for animals. According to Katka's direct testimony, collected by the investigative commission, there were many trees there at that moment, and we could hear something walking back and forth among them. We thought they could be some animals. For this reason, we put out the fire and ran inside the hut. But the steps began to be heard all around the Majdan. The terror grows when the noises multiply. Every time we agreed on where to hide, the faint noise would start above, around us, everywhere. We were hopeless. We thought there was no way to escape. In absolute panic, little Mitko suggests praying the Our Father and the Guardian Angel prayer. It is then that Ivetka pronounces for the first time in her life a prayer that spontaneously comes from her heart. Mary, our Mother, hide us under your protective mantle. And at that precise instant, as Katka testifies, a glow shone in the room. We thought it was the sun. After a while the same glow shone again, and then we could see a beautiful young lady in the center of the room. Ivetka's spontaneous prayer has opened heaven. Let's also try to pray with the same simplicity. Let's write together in the comments. Our Mother, Hide us under your mantle. Amen. The description that the three children give of the figure that appeared coincides in every minute detail. A woman of extraordinary beauty, dressed in white with golden borders, blue mantle, transparent veil, crown on her head, and rosary in her hands. When the children leave the hut to return to the village, the figure accompanies them along the entire path, walking behind them. Katka remembers. I felt peace. Then, at the stream, she began to move away from us. When we arrived at the cross, the Virgin Mary knelt and made the sign of the cross. Arriving home, little Mitko tells everything. The parish priest, Father Jan Zavacki, initially doesn't believe and imposes silence on them. But that same night, Katka's mother dreams of the Virgin, who tells her, "Don't doubt anything, just believe." On December 2nd, 1990, the crucial revelation of identity occurs. When the children ask the figure who she is and where she comes from, the answer is clear. I am the Immaculate Purity. I come from heaven. But it is precisely on the same date that one of the most controversial messages is pronounced. A message that the Vatican has expressly censored and prohibited from publication. The cause of every disease is sin. An affirmation that frontally contradicts official Catholic theology, according to which there is no direct and universal correlation between individual sin and physical disease. Even more problematic and theologically unacceptable is the message of February 24, 1991, in which it is affirmed that in a region of the world, almost all people are damned. And it refers to the possibility that a concrete person might not be forgiven. Affirmations that contradict in a radical and irreconcilable way the Catholic doctrine on universal divine mercy and on the possibility of salvation for all. But what exactly does this apparently contradictory recognition mean? In practice, Rome approves the positive spiritual fruits and authorizes public worship, but does not pronounce on the real supernatural nature of the apparitions. It is a compromise formula that allows the Vatican not to completely lose control over a spiritual movement that has involved millions of pilgrims over the course of 30 years. While clearly distancing itself from the most problematic contents from a doctrinal point of view. Parallel to the controversial censored messages, the Virgin Mary provides very precise and detailed spiritual indications for healing and protection. To heal from physical and mental diseases, it is necessary to pray the entire rosary daily, fast on Wednesday and Friday, and drink the water from the mountain spring. It is significant that the Virgin blesses a spring 100 meters from the apparition hut, declaring that its waters will serve for spiritual healing and protection in difficult times. In all respects, the healings documented by the Investigative Commission are numerous and medically verified. The phenomenon explodes with impressive rapidity. In the first year, over 100,000 pilgrims climbed the steep mountain of Mount Sevier. On November 25, 1990, during the consecration ceremony of a newly erected cross, from 2,000 to 3,000 people simultaneously witness an extraordinary solar phenomenon, similar to the miracle of the sun at Fatima. The rotating, pulsating sun, that changes color and position, visible directly, without hurting the eyes. But it is the prophetic urgency of the messages that strikes most, for their apocalyptic drama. On November 11, 1990, a warning of unprecedented severity resonates. I cannot look at the sins of Slovakia. My children are satiated with everything, they have too many things, and for this reason, they venerate neither my son nor me. My son will send a calamity upon Slovakia. But if people convert and begin to pray with fervor and humility, the calamity will move away. On November 8, 1992, an even more dramatic and urgent warning resonates. Pray, I beg you. You don't know how much this can help you. You have so little time. My dear ones, be like children, because only children know what true prayer is. The last apparition of August 6, 1995, contains the most prophetic and definitive message. My dear children, this apparition is the last one here. I love you, and thank everyone for what you have done here for me. My beloved children, I wanted this to happen to wake you from the sleep of emptiness and make you understand that for this time you need conversion. I beg you. I remain present on this mountain. Now, begin to reflect on my messages. Remain for this time in my heart, because you need to be simpler and vigilant. A time will come that is already here. Remain therefore like children, completely free for God. Ivetka, years later, will comment on those prophetic words with chilling clarity. Something will come that has never been experienced by the world before, and that will never happen again, because we need purification. Everything that will come from God's love, because you are not capable of converting when God asks you to. And purification means that there will no longer be indifferent people. Either they are for God or against Him. There is nothing in between. A time will come that is already here, she had announced in the last apparition of 1995. Looking at today's world, those prophetic words resonate with a force that not even the diplomatic Vatican censorship can attenuate or completely hide. Write in the comments a special prayer intention that you want to entrust to the Immaculate Purity of Litmanová. Whether it be for the purification of your family from the temptations of the world, for the conversion of those who have lost their faith, for the spiritual strength to face the increasingly difficult times that await us. Medjugorje has received the same type of approval from the Vatican, which obviously has excluded from its evaluation the 10 secrets. Yet, their beginning does not seem to be so far away. If you want to know more, click the video that has appeared on your screen. May God always illuminate your path. See you in the next video.